wonderful morning here in Moscow, Russia, and it's time to show one of the craziest oscillators, basically a synth voice built by S3nor, this amazing Russian manufacturer that's no longer making synths. I wanted to go through all the function and show you what this thing can do. And it's interesting because it was built like some of his projects around several instruments, and it combines from the first point of view uncombinable characteristics of the synthesizers put together in one system, so that you don't usually think would be combined together. So for the oscillator we have here two oscillators. Oh yeah, of course it's all pure analog circuitry, through-hole built with the best components and the knobs and everything, and it has real vactrols inside, which I go a little bit in a second. So for the oscillators we use R2600 oscillators, and it has sine, triangle, saw, and square with pulse width modulation. It has two frequency modulation, linear and exponential. Of course it has voltage octave input for both. The funny thing that this is written in Russian, but there is this schematic in English as well. Now for this filter, it is basically buchla 291. It's buchla 291, so it has three outputs. You have the frequency, of course, the frequency knob, and then you have the width of the spectrum knob, and you have frequency modulation, you have modulation for with attenuation, you have a modulation for the frequency control, and you have a modulation for the width spectrum and width of the spectrum. So there are the three outputs. Now this section is the ADSR is based around Roland system 100M, and you have a switch for making it more snappy. You hear like there's the clicks. My mixing is a little bit scratchy, so the scratching comes from here, and then see there is no click, and there's this click, so it can be very, very punchy. Now this section is interesting. It's VCF, VCA, and it is built around moog rouge. And this, of course, is a Turing machine, and this is a digital effect section, which is basically a reverb. I can edit over here, and well, you know what? I'm not going to edit right now. Let me just let it play, and then I turn up the volume. We can hear the pure sound of this thing without any effect, just a raw sound. So basically everything what we hear is coming from this machine. The only thing that is being used externally is just a trigger. So the trigger goes to the envelope to gate the envelope, and we use the clock to trigger the Turing machine. So basically all the sections right now are used, and the sound comes from the machine itself. So regarding this project, it was kind of really big project for this manufacturer to make, and he abandoned it after 5 units were only made. As far as I know, and I'm sure, I think it's pretty much should be like this. There are 3 units in the hands of one person, and it's not me. Another one is a collector who by accident wrote me, do you know what this is? He was buying a lot of synthesizers, and he discovered that he had one of the synths, and the person that has it also, the last one, is me. Basically this unit was in my hands for quite some time. I actually never gigged with that. I played it on a lot of recordings, but I never gigged it. So you can see it's basically in pristine condition. Everything is perfectly fine. And then my friend used it in his non-smoking environment, and then basically I got it in my hands again, and I was using it for some time. Now it's time to find a new home. It's quite a spectacular sound. The beauty of this instrument is that it does sound very raw. You know, the sound is really extremely raw. It's really a huge sound, and you know, being a person who really was totally into the sound of the 70s, not the music of the 70s, but the sound of the synths of the 60s and 70s, like moogs, Oberheims, ARPs. You know, I even had at one point Yamaha CS80. I kind of really understand what the raw sound is, and this is the raw sound. This is the pure sound, because the montage of the PCBs, which I'll later show in another video, is through hole, and the amount of components is huge. There are real vactrols inside. Everything is made to the highest standard, and that's why when you take care of each of the stage of the synthesizer, not just, you know, oscillator, and maybe you don't really bother with the filter, but with every stage. That was the philosophy of this person. Then you have a proper synth. You have a proper synth output. Of course, there are hundreds of other things that need to come together to make it sound pure, but these are the important things. So your synth is as good as its weakest part is, and if you have no weak parts, everything is taken care of, then you have a proper synth. So that's the idea. Now let's listen to the raw sound of this thing, and I will upload the demo to the SoundCloud of this exact piece. So once again, the scratching comes from this mixing board. These here don't scratch. There we go. Everything is shaking over here. Of course, the iPhone won't catch the trembling of the windows and basically the sound, but you can get the idea. After, you can listen to the SoundCloud as well. Now let's add the reverb. Let's let the filter section the reverb. Triggering the frequency of the filter, buchla 291 style filter. As I said, there are real vactrols inside. There are 4 of them. So basically you can really go wild with this, and let me tune it down a bit. So it can range from a proper synth to just a really crazy machine that you can go wild with, and that's what I did. And I hope there will be a person who loves the sound as much as I do, who will find this machine interesting for him or for her. Anyway, thank you for watching. And in the next video I'm gonna show you the build quality from the inside. Thank you.